This was not even something I thought I could talk about.
I want to say it was the first birthday party. It felt like a wake.
How do I give her the best possible life?
Does this mean that she's going to die?
If she can just walk, if she can just talk, if she can just find a friend. I'm Becky Quick. I've spent the last 25 years on camera at CNBC covering the people, the politics, the highs and lows of American business. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Squawk Box right here on CNBC. Let's take a look at what's been happening with the U.S. equity futures. But there's another part of my life. Actually, it's the best part.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
I'm a mom to a child with a rare disease. There are fewer than a couple thousand people in the world like her. And my own story, my family's story, is one that I never thought I would tell. It's taken me years to get here. This is The Path, a podcast series about the hidden world of rare disease. I say hidden because there are thousands of potential conditions, diseases, disorders, illnesses lurking in our genes, hidden in the basic code that makes us who we are. These are misdirections in neural pathways, deficits of critical proteins or enzymes, genetic typos, if you will, countless ways that biological chance can change our health or change our lives. Rare diseases, they're sometimes called orphan diseases, impact tiny populations of people who are actually lucky enough to get a diagnosis. 95% of rare diseases lack a cure, and those who are affected and their families can feel very, very alone.
Oh my goodness.
I thought I was alone, but it turns out my family's story is like the story of so many others. We haven't been immune to life's tragedies or to grief. Things don't always go according to plan. And I'm on TV, asking the hard questions, finding the best person to try and tackle the trickiest problems. Turns out that's my superpower. And the question became, can I use that superpower to find hope and build a community? That's what I want to be done here. Any one rare disease may show up in a handful of patients with, and here's a CNBC term for you, a pretty small total addressable market. But there are more than 10,000 rare diseases, collectively impacting 30 million Americans. That's huge. It's 10% of the population, and that means that probably someone you know is walking this path right now. Knowing how to treat disease that targets an individual's genetic code can unlock so much more about our own health or even the future of medicine. Technological advances are taking place at a breakneck pace. Artificial intelligence is speeding the progress and advancing the therapies that are happening so much faster than I believed was possible, even just a couple of years ago. But for patients and families with rare disease, the pace is never fast enough because time is the enemy.
What does the tiger say? What does he say? Rah, rah.
On this path, I'm going to talk to parents, families, doctors, and patients, to people who are trying to find answers or even cures.
6, good job. 7.
I want to tell you my daughter Kaylie's story. She's 9 years old. She's a mini-me, some people say, but I know she's better than I've ever been. And the best way that I could think on how to start is to sit down for an interview with my husband.
Do I really talk to her?
Yeah.
While I'm speaking?
Well, we're kind of talking like this and like this, right? I'm Becky Quick.
I'm Matt Quayle.
We work at CNBC, and we have a daughter who has a rare genetic disease called SYNGAP1.
Pardon me? Parking?
Okay, let's do this for real. Matt and I both work at CNBC and have for forever. We have 2 older kids, daughters who are launching their lives and careers, and 2 younger kids. My son Kyle was about 5 years old when he became a big brother in late 2016.
Good morning and welcome to Squawk Box right here on CNBC. Becky's off today, but Becky's off today for a very good reason because over the weekend, yes, the baby has arrived.
Just before midnight, I think, on Friday.
on Friday.
On Friday, Kaylie, Noel. 2 girls already, but then the little boy and the little
Oh, no,
girl
it's
from-
totally
yeah,
rounded out the whole.
symmetrical. Yes.
Yes.
Man, I was so excited to bring her into this world. And she was smiling within a few days of being born. I couldn't remember. I couldn't believe it. I still have the picture of her smile. And I send it to people because people are like, oh, that's not a smile, that's gas. It was a smile. She has this huge smile on her face, and Kaylie was a very easy, happy baby.
Happy baby. All right.
She smiled all the time and was just so excited to be around people. She still is. Kaylie is, she's got this sunshine personality and lights up a room when she walks in. Most of the time, she's pretty happy. When she's not, everybody knows. And for the first 6 months, I was so excited. It was the happiest I've ever been in my life.
She was very smiley and super cute. And she was the bonus that we didn't even think was going to happen.
Yeah.
And, you know, we thought Kyle was the last, and we were embracing every moment as a parent with Kyle, thinking that, you know, this is the last time we're going to do this. This is the last time we're going to do this. Because, you know, as Kyle's starting to get older, oh my, this is the last 4th birthday party we're ever going to have. So at first it was just like pure bonus material, thinking, oh, we get to do this all again.
Ready? Whoosh.
I was so happy, and I felt pretty guilty because my brother had passed away about 1.5 years before that. And after Brian passed away, he had been hit by a car. He suffered a traumatic brain injury. He was, you know, immobilized for the next 25 years. And Brian passed away, and it was devastating after living with my parents for all that time. And then my one sister-in-law got pregnant, and then my other sister-in-law got pregnant, and then I got pregnant. And we had all 3 of those babies within 6 months of each other. And we went on a big family vacation out to Florida when those babies were 6 months old. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is Brian kind of shining on us and telling us it's going to be okay.
Do you want some more num-nums? Does Kaylie want more num-nums? Oh, peas! Yay, Kaylie!
But around 7 months or so, I started to get concerned about Kaylie. She still crossed her eyes too often. She wasn't rolling over. And sometimes she stared into space. It kind of seemed like she was resetting like a computer on the fritz at times. I was worried about it. You weren't at that point.
No, I was...
Kind of made fun of me for thinking there was something going on. But I could tell that there was something a little different. And I was concerned. So we started taking her to doctors. And most of the doctors were not super concerned at first. Went to a developmental doctor and eventually got a diagnosis that, yes, she has global developmental delays. But that basically just means we can't really tell what's going on. We don't know what's happening, but she's not meeting her milestones.
I think I often just kept saying it, you know, oh, don't worry, you know, have faith. She's going to get there. God has a plan. I still think God has a plan, but I didn't realize that the context was different. That year of knowing but not knowing that something is off or something's not working right or something's not clicking, or that gray year was really probably rough.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably the worst.
It was probably the worst.
The parents of children with rare disease use one word a lot when describing the hard work of getting medical attention or getting close to some kind of answer to that question, what's wrong with my child? Odyssey. But the answers can be pretty blunt and pretty wrong at times. This is not an ordinary trip to the doctor for a couple of routine tests. It's a meandering, twisting journey of almost mythic proportions, turning a parent from truth seeker to advocate to fighter and back again. It was like that for us.
I remember when we were told not all kids go to college.
Yeah.
That line.
Well,
And it's okay, don't worry.
what he actually said
Was it college or Harvard?
no, he said, you know, look, she may not be a Fortune 500 CEO, but she may go to college. And to mention those things when you're dealing with a child who's a year old, maybe younger, like those are the type of things that send you into free fall as a parent when you're still thinking about all the wonderful things that you have in mind for your child, about how they're going to live their lives and what you see happening for them. That period of time where you're just trying to do anything and you have hope all the time, like if I just take her to enough therapy sessions, she's going to be okay. And then you start to peel back and worry about what might not happen for her. And I remember at first thinking, okay, being mad when he said maybe she's not going to be a Fortune 500 CEO. And then thinking if we could just get her to college, that would be great. And then thinking, well, she doesn't have to go to college. If she can just find something that she loves doing. And then you start rolling it back, and it's like, if she can just walk, if she can just talk, if she can just find a friend.
It all blurs together as far as the timelines go, but you don't forget the emotion of thinking along the lines of that she's probably not going to get to experience the same things the same way that our other children have. And what that means and how devastating that is. That I remember I don't remember if it was the first or the second birthday party. Happy birthday, dear Kaylie. I want to say it was the first birthday party. It felt like a wake. Right? There was something so wrong with it. And we knew we were trying to be happy and we were trying to celebrate it, but she couldn't blow out the candle. So we kind of faked it because we wanted to make it feel like it was normal. And it wasn't normal, and we knew it. And it crushed us in some way. And then, you have a series of those type events.
Kaylie was behind other kids her age in terms of development. She was behind her cousins who were the same age, and that made family gatherings pretty hard sometimes.
Everybody do this, and one of the shots.
She wasn't verbal, and she struggled to communicate. We consulted with a neurologist who prescribed an EEG, and that showed some unusual brain activity and seizures. Kaylie started on a long and varied road of medications that are designed to control her seizures. But just before Kaylie turned 3, we got the results of a genetic test that showed Kaylie had SYNGAP1. About 1,600 people on the planet have this diagnosis. So we had a word to describe what we were seeing, finally. But it wasn't that simple to take in or to understand. The diagnosis was devastating. I don't remember what I absorbed at that point and what I didn't.
I remember where we were. It's like one of those moments you know exactly where you were. We were driving. We got the phone call in the car. She did. I was behind her. We pulled over into an office building right by CNBC's headquarters, and we pulled into the back parking lot. And she shared the news. We got out of one car and sat in one car together. And I still know every time I drive by that building, that's the first thing I think about is sitting in that parking lot crying. At least there was an answer, a little bit. But the answer was not very clear because it was we didn't know what SYNGAP was. Nobody knew what SYNGAP was.
And our neurologist didn't know what it was. Had to look it up and said, you'll probably know more about this. It was a Friday. You'll probably know more about this by the end of the weekend than we do. And we did. But, when it's such a rare disease, 1,000 people on the planet have it, you don't know what you're dealing with. And so we searched the internet and we found a couple of parents groups that existed. And that's where we got most of our information. And I will tell you, it feels like such a lonely path. And so trying to be somebody who pulls it together and then finds the information on it, there's not a lot of information available, so a lot of it is still a void. And then trying to explain to other people what that means.
There wasn't a lot of information other than at least SYNGAP was one of those, genetic diseases that had been identified.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it is for parents who get these now, basically they're given a diagnosis of a number, and that's the name of the mutation or the disease, and that's all they got. They don't have nowhere to go. They have no other parents to talk to. They have no other researchers who know anything about it.
You don't know what the lifespan is going to look like. You don't know what their life quality is going to look like. And that's really hard, too. The great unknown,
Yeah.
I guess.
That was one of the first things that we were like, does this mean that she's going to die? Well, like, what does SYNGAP mean? Can she live a normal life? Can she grow old?
Kaylie has SYNGAP1, which means she only produces half of the SYNGAP protein needed for brain development. That means that she has seizures, developmental delays, and intellectual disabilities. And like most other SYNGAPians, that's right, we call them SYNGAPians, she has autism. Kaylie's autism is severe. She has apraxia, which means that even though she struggles to speak, she has very high receptive language, and I think understands most of what is going on around her. Sometimes people think that just because she can't talk, she doesn't understand what they're saying, and they talk about her right in front of her, sometimes unkindly. I've heard people call her retarded. They've called her spoiled or undisciplined. They've said she's too old to be in a stroller, which, by the way, is where she can feel the safest sometimes when we're out in the community. Or they've given us disapproving looks or said that she shouldn't be allowed to have so much screen time when we're in a restaurant with her at her brother's basketball games and she's on her iPad. I've heard all of that, and so has she. People with SYNGAP have dendrites. Those are neural connections within your brain that transmit electrical impulses that look like these fat tree trunks all branched out together with lots of branches, instead of the smooth vines that would be in a neurotypical brain. A friend of mine whose son had brain cancer took one look at the image of a SYNGAPian's brain and said it looked just like the brain of a child who had received radiation for brain tumors. Those bold trunks of synapses instead of the sleek connections that most people have mean that Kaylie can be overwhelmed by the flood of input coming her way. Sometimes she bites herself as a result as she tries to manage it all, and sometimes she bites me or her father. She doesn't mean it, we know that, but it's hard to process it and react with grace as it's happening sometimes.
You learn SYNGAP as you go.
Yeah.
Right? It's like when there's 250 cases in the United States, you're going to learn as you go. Nobody really totally understands it. Kaylie shocks me all the time with stuff that you just, like, what did she just do there?
And as a parent, when you find this out, you're so hopeless. You just think, someone please throw us a line, So you're automatically in a stage where you're willing to believe anybody who's offering you hope. But years of training in my profession has also taught me to be a bit skeptical. And also, by the way, years of going through trying to find a cure for traumatic brain injury with my brother. We'd been down the research path. We'd been down the brain stem cells and all of these things that were supposed to be promising research, followed Christopher Reeve Foundation, all of these things that you think will eventually get you somewhere. And things never develop as quickly as you want them to, or as you hope they might. And so we were looking for places where they might be able to do research, but in the back of my mind, I've always got a little bit of a spidey sense about look out for the charlatans, look out for the people who are on the take, but also look out for the people who aren't going to move with the same urgency that we are. There are lots of good people who are doing research who don't have that same level of urgency, which is find it, fix it, find what the science can do and figure out how to get it into patients as quickly as possible. I don't care about you publishing. I don't care about any of the other things that come along with this. I want it to be safe and effective in that order, and I want it to be as fast as possible. And there aren't too many places where they have the same mindset as the parents. Yeah, I mean, we never took time off from work after we got the diagnosis. That was a Friday. On Monday, we went back to work because I don't think we really know any other way to operate.
I would say this, that at least my thinking along the lines of working changed. Everything changed. Our life plan there changed. Most people, you married, you have kids, they go to college, you start thinking about, the next stage in your life and retirement, and you've been saving up and blah, blah, blah. And we're gonna go sit on a beach and sip margaritas. And Kaylie has reset our whole life plan. I don't have to just, save for my retirement. Right now I have to, one day I'm gonna be gone, and is Kaylie gonna be okay? So now my whole thought process towards retirement is, well, now I can't retire till I know Kaylie will be okay for the next 90 years. One day we're not gonna be here, and she is. And have we done what we've needed to do to prepare for that day for her?
I get up at 3:45 in the morning and I still go to work, and sometimes that's an escape. It's 3 hours when I'm on TV that I am not thinking about this, and singularly this, because the other 21 hours, this is what I think about. And, sometimes you need to pull yourself out of the immediate moment. And Squawk Box is a good distraction. It might be too overwhelming otherwise.
Hi, KK. Whoa, look at Kaylie.
When you are raising a child who has a rare genetic disease, day-to-day life takes everything you can to get through it. And making sure your child's safe, making sure, these kids need help going to the bathroom. They need help getting dressed. They need help bathing. They need help eating. They need constant care. They may need help making sure they sleep through the night. That takes up so much of your life and your energy as a parent. But that's how do I give her the best possible life? That's the track you're following. But then the other part is, okay, how do we find some therapy or a cure to help her too? And there's only so many hours in the day. And that's before you consider your other kids, before you consider your day job. How do you run both those paths at the same time?
Work with dedicated therapists, doctors, and teachers has helped tremendously. Kaylie continues to make progress, and we've learned a lot about how to best try and help her, but we've got a long, long way to go.
When you get into your deepest, why did this happen? Why did this happen? And I used to always think oh. And part of me at one point said Kaylie was given this disease, this mutation, because we are going to help solve it. And right. And she could be the one. And the reason she could be the one is because we have the access in our professional lives that we can actually make a difference here. The reason Kaylie has this is because she is going to be special. There's going to be something. But I definitely remember thinking that, okay, this is a card that we've been given because Kaylie was put on this earth to us, and we are in a position that maybe we can help move that ball forward.
We're the lucky ones. We have resources. We have a strong family group. We have support. And, Matt and I were sitting around at one point and just thought, why can't we do something with CNBC to help bring these families together and to help find ways? There's all these amazing things that we're seeing in the science, that we're seeing in the laboratories. And for some reason, it takes a really long time to get that science
into the patient's arms. So what are the roadblocks? What are the boundaries? How can we help identify that? And then because there are so many different rare diseases, 7,000 to 10,000 different rare diseases that impact 30 million Americans, why should we reinvent the wheel with every one of those groups? Can't we learn from each other and figure out how to streamline this and figure out how to bring everybody along? Because there's just not enough money to do this 7,000 times, 8,000 times, 9,000 times. So how do you try and figure out the best way to push forward and bring along as many people as you can with that? And then it's such a lonely path. How do you make it feel a little less lonely for people who are all trying to figure this out the same as we were? We're still trying to figure it out.
Squawk Box marked its 30th anniversary in 2025. We were invited to ring the opening bell at the NASDAQ market site, ceremoniously beginning trading for the day. Our family surprised us all on set, and I had no idea that Kaylie was about to make her television debut. If I had, I'd probably have been terrified.
Oh my God, you got, this is crazy. I thought it was just you guys. Now it's everybody?
You can stand right here, Kaylie.
Oh my God.
Wow.
But it turns out I didn't need to be.
Becky's gonna cry.
There's all these times where we think, oh, can she do this? Can she do that? And, just a few years ago, I don't think we would have been comfortable because, I don't think we had her behavior, outbursts under control, or she wouldn't be able to control it.
And to explain it, like when Kaylie gets sensory overload, I don't know what's happening in her mind, but I know it completely floods her brain.
Right.
And it hurts, and she cries, and she bites herself, and she bites us.
Every time we put her in a situation now where we're worried about will she be able to handle it, she shines.
Yeah.
Like she took over the opening bell at the NASDAQ and she started pushing the button herself, and it's just like, it was like we were just so hopeful when we were like, can we get her there, and can she just sit on your lap?
I didn't know.
Right?
I'm
She
glad I didn't know in advance.
I had to keep this from her because otherwise this would have been a whole thing.
It's a family. It really is. There is the opening bell and the CNBC real-time exchange.
She overperformed, right? And then
Well,
she
and
embraced the moment,
The noise
and
didn't
she
get
loved
to her.
it.
The crowds didn't get to her, which I was thrilled about. The lights didn't bother her. She worked through all of that. I mean, we still can't sing Happy Birthday because it sends her into an emotional overload. So there were questions about whether, but she's amazing, and she does play to a crowd sometimes.
She plays to a crowd.
She's amazing.
She's amazing.
She can do all of these things that people thought maybe she couldn't. She doesn't just walk, she runs. She jumps. She's a daredevil. She loves roller coasters. She loves movement. She loves the swings. She loves her sisters and her brother. She loves her cousins. And she loves her family. She is just happy every single day, and I am grateful for that. I am grateful she can make it through these days. She works really hard every day. Every single day, Kaylie works harder than any of the rest of us. And that's just who she is. She goes to school. She goes to therapies after school. We do speech classes on the weekends. We do swim classes. We do gym classes with her friends. It's, everything she's doing, we try to make it as fun as possible, but everything she's doing is trying to learn skill sets that other kids pick up really quickly and really easily. So she has to work not twice as hard, not 3 times as hard, but by exponential levels harder than anybody else does. And we are super proud of her. Yeah, we tell stories all the time. We've just never told this story. We've never told our story. And we had some trepidations. First of all, I know what it's like when you put anything out there. You're going to get blowback, and I've got a pretty thick skin, but the idea of putting my daughter out there was not a thrilling one. And second of all, I've really tried to keep the personal and private, the personal life and the work life pretty separate. because it's hard to operate. This was not even something I thought I could talk about. When I went to work, I shut down this part of my life and this part of my brain. So it took a long time to get there.
I think it's as we were talking about, it's the path of a special needs parent. And you go through stages on the path, and it has taken us 9 years to get here on this couch, able to talk about it and not completely, we're tearing up a little here and there, but completely break down and cry. And it's taken us 9 years to get here. But we're here now, finally. We're blessed because of the jobs we have and everything. And now that we've gotten to the point that we can talk about it, we can really use that for good. And there's going to be debates, in the government about how to handle these new drugs that come on the market, all of it. And gathering people together to discuss it, and gathering researchers together to collaborate, all of it. All of that is important. And all of that, I hope, is something that can get us to a better place than we were 9 years ago.
When I do share this, when I do talk with other people, I've been amazed at how many people are going through something similar, who either they themselves have a family member who is dealing with something similar, or they have friends. It feels to me like there's only about 2 degrees of separation from everybody on this planet being connected to some rare disease. And that was kind of shocking to me, the idea that this is not some lonely, isolated place, but a common ordeal that you get with something like Alzheimer's or with cancer. The idea that this is much bigger than some orphan disease and 250 people here or 500 people there or 1,000 people here. Look, we work in a capitalist society, and if you want to get things done, if you have a larger, tangible, addressable market, you are able to then put more resources behind it and then make progress. And that, to me, was really exciting. But guess what? There's no mission without money. And there's a big enough mission here that it should draw in money, it should draw in attention, it should draw in efforts. And that, to me, was a real game changer, that we can do something here.
This has been our first step on the path, a podcast and videocast launching with CNBC Cures, where we're trying to build a community to make walking this path feel a little less lonely. You can subscribe to the CNBC Cures newsletter. That will give you the latest news on rare disease advances, legislative and regulatory attention, or the stories of patients and families who are waging the battles of their lives. I can't wait for you to hear what we have in store. We'll be putting these podcasts on YouTube, CNBC.com, and podcast platforms. Tell me what you think in the comments. If you're in need of help, resources, guidance, I'll be going there and checking them out, and I want to hear from you. On our next episode, I talked to one of the first fellow travelers who I met, a man named Luke Rosen. His daughter, Susanna, has a rare progressive neurological disorder, and Luke and his wife threw themselves into patient-led treatments that might actually be working. He's a hero to me.
You know the trajectory of disease. If she doesn't go treated, she's probably going to die. And if we can slow that down and curb that severity of disease, then maybe, wheelchair or not, maybe I'll be able to, dance with her at prom or something. And that's something you think would never, Becky, that's something you can never
Price tag on it.
measure.
It's not.
Yeah.
I think you're going to get that dance.
I think so too.
Thanks to our producers and the team at CNBC, and thanks to you for listening. We'll see you next time.